sometimes it can feel like dating really sucks. You know, people playing games. It seems like they have one foot in the door, one foot out the door. The struggle to meet someone who you are compatible with, or even more importantly, have a connection with. Individuals just wanting to make it more about sex than about actually emotionally bonding. I mean, I can go down a list of reasons why it can get annoying and frustrating. But I need you to understand that it can get a lot better than that. I need you to understand that on the other side of the nonsense is a dating process that you can enjoy and that can lead to greater things for you. More specifically, that relationship, if that's what you desire in your life. But the key is how you go about dating and if you are setting yourself up for success. And one of the struggles I'm seeing from a lot of people is the fact that they're not presenting themselves or showing up in a way that allows for other individuals to take them seriously. Sometimes you're going on these dates and that person just feels like you're the one playing games. You're the one with the one foot in, one foot out, or different other issues that we're going to talk about. So I want to help you understand the secrets to being taken seriously when dating. And number one is date quality, not quantity. All right, so what do I mean by this? Let's start with the dating in quality, all right? We have to understand that when we date, I don't want to say people who are beneath you. That's just wrong, okay? But when you are dating people who other individuals can clearly see this is of a lower quality or a lower caliber of person that you should be dating, it reflects poorly on you. Now, granted, everyone doesn't always get to see who you date, but you'd be surprised how word can get around or how individuals that you don't know are paying attention and seeing these things. Or how in some situations, people find out because the world can be small sometimes, all right? And you could date this one individual and it turns out their friend is the cousin of your other friend who knows this person who works with you. And through that pipeline, they find out that's who you were dealing with. Now, let me make this clear. This can go both ways, men and women. But I want to give you a quick story of one time where there was a guy and he was dating this girl. And he viewed her as like, oh my gosh, this could be the one, all right? And so much so, he was doing everything in his power to be the most upstanding guy he could ever be. He wasn't trying to have sex with her. He was showing her all the effort and energy that she was looking for. I mean, this man was head over heels. So he's in this process trying to make things happen. And I can't remember how long into it, but at some point, he ends up talking to a friend who it turns out he knows the girl that the guy I know is dating. All right, I hope you're keeping up with this. But and he reveals to him other men that she's been dealing with. And if we're gonna be honest, not only was she dealing with these or had dealt with these other men who, again, in his eyes was garbage men. I'm just gonna keep it real with you. But she slept with them and there was some other things. Now listen, we can always say that there are people out there who lie and who don't always tell the full story. But that's not the point of this. The point is, after he found out who she dealt with and how far she went with these individuals, she went from dream girl, the woman he thought he could spend his life with, to just another woman he was going to try to sleep with. Now, I know the sleep part is not healthy. It's not good. Again, that's not the point. The point is the quality of people you date can come back to haunt you, all right? But not only in how others perceive you and others finding out this information, but also in the fact that you can now develop bad habits by dealing with these types of individuals. You engage in unhealthy situations or in situations with people who, again, engage in unhealthy behavior, however you want to put it. And that can rub off on you. It's kind of like being an athlete, being a basketball player, and you keep practicing shooting the ball wrong, and then you think when you get into a real game, you're gonna actually shoot the ball right. It's like, yo, you're developing a bad habit by dealing with these people, and more than likely engaging in that same unhealthy behavior. Because let's face it, when we're in those casual situations, when we're dealing with people that we aren't serious about, it's very easy to now not bring our best. It's more than likely that we won't. And in doing that, we now start to develop those bad behaviors as well. Or start to develop a skewed perception of the opposite sex and relationships and so on and so forth. So essentially carrying baggage from those experiences onto something that could potentially be good. So we have to be mindful of the quality of people we entertain. Now, granted, we don't always know the quality of person right off the bat. It may take us a little bit to find out what we're really dealing with. But once we do, we've got to be willing to let go, because again, it can come back to haunt you. But now let's also talk about the aspect of quality over the issue of quantity. Now, let me make this very clear. I believe that if you are single, you are free to do as you damn well please. If you want to date 10 people right now, that is your choice as a grown adult. The only thing I'm going to encourage you, well, the two things I'm going to encourage you to do is, one, be honest with the people that you are dating multiple people. I think that's only fair. You know what I'm saying? We need to understand, we got to be open and transparent in these situations, because if you're not being open and transparent and this person finds out when they're trying to be locked into you and it turns out you were dating multiple people, that can end up causing a lot of problems. And then number two is, be honest with yourself about, can you even handle that? Can you handle dating a large quantity of individuals, multiple people at a time? And when I say can you handle it, more specifically, can you properly evaluate individuals and not end up keeping them around? Because what happens to a lot of people is, when you're dating multiple people, you might get this from this person, that from that person, and all together they make one good whole person, right? But no one individually is good enough. But because you like the different things, you keep them all. And so now you're dragging things along that you shouldn't be, all right? But here's the other side of the issue of dating in quantity and trying to be taken seriously. If someone came to you and say, hey, I want to get to know you, but hey, just so you know, I'm dating like 7 people right now. Chances are you're not going to take them as seriously as the person who's only dating you. So if you're going to be the individual who wants to date in quantity, yes, it is your right. You are free to do so. But it can reflect poorly on how seriously they think you are taking them, since you have your attention spread out everywhere, and therefore they're less likely to be serious about you. So you have to be mindful, and I would encourage you to focus more on quality dating and less on quantity dating. The second secret to being taken seriously in dating is to set your standards. Now, I want to make sure you understand my perception of standards is more so based off of things like how you expect to be treated in this relationship, what you require of the individuals, what you see as the necessary pieces, ingredients to having success here, all right? And laying these things out, not having this mentality of waiting to see what they do. I think that's a big mistake that people make. And granted, I'm not saying first date, just run off a list of, okay, I want this, and this. If you don't do this, you're out of here. Like, no. But be open and willing to discuss these things. And I think one of the great ways is by asking them, what are they looking for? What do they require in the dating process or in a potential relationship? So many people end up moving along too far with someone, never understanding what they're really requiring or what they really need. And that creates a lot of disconnect somewhere down the line in that situation, or even early on. Because People don't know. And the perception of, well, some of these things are just common sense. No, well, common sense ain't always so common. People grow up in different environments. They're raised differently. They've been exposed to different things. Therefore, they come into relationships with different perceptions of what's needed or what's necessary or what is even acceptable in a relationship. So we've got to be willing to have that discussion and not have this idea that by telling them what we're looking for, what we need, that we're giving them the blueprint to play us. And I'll be honest, I hear this more from women than from men, but it can happen both ways. You got to understand that, again, the majority of people who are trying to play games are trying to get more for less. So essentially, they're not trying to put forth a huge effort just to play you in the end. They just want to do as little as possible and get as much benefits as they can. So you listing out your standards is not likely to be met by someone who's just looking to play you. And that's how you're going to differentiate who's serious and who's not. Granted, there's going to always be exceptions to the rule, but it's just not typical. It's just not the common thing. So if you want to be taken seriously, set those standards. Let it be known what you need. And then see if this individual steps up to the plate or if they're even willing to embrace that. Real quick thing before I move on to the next point. I remember one time I met somebody, this is years ago, and right off the bat, I asked her, how much communication do you need? Because I understand, or I know and can acknowledge, I'm not the greatest with the phone. And at that time, I was extremely busy. I had not properly structured my life to have proper balance in career and relationship. So I said, before there's any confusion or interpretation that I'm not serious about trying to get to know her, I need to know how much she needs, all right? And she said, and I don't know if this was her being genuine or not, but she said, at least 3 to 4 times a week, I want to be able to hear from you. And I said, okay, cool, I could do that. Now, at that time, had she said, I need to hear from you every single day, I'm not sure I could have said yes, all right? And whether that's me being ridiculous or not, and maybe that was a sign that I was not as serious as I thought I was or needed to be. Regardless, her making, if that would have been the standard she set, I would have been able to say, you know what, we're probably not going to work. And just not even waste each other's time. So I think we eliminate a lot of unnecessary back and forth, confusion, all that, if we just set our standards early. Now, the third secret to being taken seriously when dating is stand by your words, all right? So many people make themselves out to be a joke or to be viewed as a joke because they don't stick by what they say. Now, this can transcend, or this can go with business relationships, family, whoever. All right? In life in general, you've got to learn to stand by your words, and you've got to learn not to write a check you can't cash. All right? Don't talk that nonsense. Don't start, spouting off some things that you're not going to be willing to back up. Don't say stuff like, if you do that one more time, I'll never talk to you again, knowing damn well you're going to call them 2 days later, trying to make up with them and keep the relationship going. You're going to look silly. Now, granted, we all have moments where we may say things we don't mean and we end up taking a person back or whatever, right? But when it's a consistent pattern of you not standing by your words, you are not going to be taken seriously by that individual. And your words will no longer be taken seriously. So now when you throw those threats out, when you say, well, this is not good enough, I'm not happy with this, but you still tolerate the nonsense, well, to them it's like, oh, they're just going through a moment. Oh, they're just emotional right now. Oh, I'm just going to let them cool off and we're going to be good. You don't want that to be the case, So you've got to learn to, again, say what you mean. And if you don't mean it, don't say it. Catch yourself as best as possible, all right? Because it's a setup for disaster when you don't do that. So now let's keep this moving. But before we get to number 4, real quick, I want to give you an opportunity to join my free text community, all right? I want you to text the words love to the number below, which is 770-373-4246. I'll also leave a link in the comment section and in the description, and you can just click on that and text me. Join the list where I send inspiration, updates when I go on events, special offers, so on and so forth. So again, join my free text community. Now, number 4, or the 4th secret to being taken seriously when dating is to don't play games and to communicate, all right? So simply, if you've watched enough of my videos on my previous videos, I am not about the game playing and the tips or the tricks and manipulation that some people use out there or some people even promote out there. I'm about more honest, genuine communication and honest approach. There's no need for us to be engaging in games. And you got to understand that when you start down that path, what you are setting yourself up for and how you can create so much more confusion and damage because you're choosing to play a game. Now, it's important for you to understand that some of the things that we have normalized is equivalent to playing a game. And an example of that is you don't hear from that person for a couple days. And you say, oh, hell no, they ain't reach out to me. All right, you know what? I'm just going to ignore them right now, and I'm going to wait to see how long before they reach out to me. That's playing a game. You're not being genuine in that moment. If you have an issue with the fact that they haven't reached out to you, reach out to them and address the issue. Let's talk about it. Hey, I haven't heard from you. What's up? You know what I'm saying? And then when they tell you what's up, if you feel like it's an unacceptable answer, or even if it's an understandable answer, you can express, well, hey, listen, if we're going to be dating or we're going to be in this relationship, I need to hear from you. I need to hear from you consistently. And even if you don't want to talk today, hey, just let me know you're having a bad day or whatever. Touch base with me. Keep me updated on what's going on, but don't go ghost on me. Don't just disappear and not reach out. Make that clear. And that goes back to setting those standards. And now they see you're not playing games here. You're being upfront about what you need. And they understand that, okay, if I'm trying to seriously be with this person, I've got to step my game up. Or accept that I'm not ready for what they need or prepared to give them what they need. So there's a lot of little things that we've become accustomed to that we fail to understand contribute to the game playing, and we got to stop that. We've got to be willing to address issues. And again, as I said, don't play games and communicate. Talk about things. Be willing to sit down. And if there's a concern or a struggle, to sit down and verbally discuss things, then be open to writing each other letters. All right? And I say letters or emails. Emails or letters are acceptable, but not text. All right? Not text when it comes to addressing deeper issues. Preferably not text. I know sometimes in the moment you might just go there with it, but texts are made for more short conversations, all right? Quick messages. We got to get out of the habit of leaning too heavily on text messaging and get back to either verbal communication or writing a letter or email. Because in writing a letter or email, it's more of a long form expression. Text is more short form. Letters, email, more long form. So you're more likely to get more out. You're more likely to fully express yourself. Therefore, allowing that person you're communicating to gain a more clearer picture of what you're saying and where you're coming from. It's also less likely, not that it doesn't happen, but it's less likely to misinterpret intent and tone in letters and emails versus text. People are always misinterpreting other individuals via text, always jumping to conclusions, taking things the wrong way. You lessen that with a letter or email. And of course, verbally is going to be ideal. But I understand that sometimes that's not always easy. But we cannot let that be a scapegoat to not have communication. So getting back to the main point, you want to be taken seriously. Do not play games. Be willing to communicate. That's how you set a strong foundation in the dating process and in a relationship. Now we're at number 5, and the 5th thing to do to be taken seriously is to reciprocate and appreciate. All right? So what I'm saying here is that if you're dating someone and you are pouring into them, you're making an effort, so on and so forth, and this individual is not reciprocating your efforts, not pouring back into you, you are naturally going to question their seriousness. You are naturally going to question if they're just here to use you. You are naturally going to question their desire, their intent, so on and so forth. So it's important that you understand if you do that, that's what's going to happen to you. Why would you expect them to take you serious if you're not reciprocating? Now, again, I feel the need to say this absolutely happens both ways. But I have to highlight this for the ladies for a second because there's a more natural inclination in many women to take a sit back and wait approach. To take this approach of, I want to see how serious he is by his efforts, but in waiting to see that, I'm going to hold back. I'm not going to open up. I'm not going to necessarily reciprocate because he needs to earn that from me. And I will tell you till my face turns blue, that is an unhealthy approach. And that is a very sabotaging approach. Yes, there are some women who still ended up in a relationship doing that. Most cases, it's the wrong relationship. Damn near all cases, if not all, I'm just going to be real with you. It does not work in the grand scheme of things. So you got to get out of that mindset. But again, man or woman, you've got to be willing to reciprocate and match their energy, match their efforts, be present there. But then also show appreciation. Because again, if you are making efforts for somebody, if you're doing your part and they're not being appreciative of it, you are going to be less likely to take them serious. That's normal. That's human nature. So anything that you know would cause you to question someone, not take them serious, whatever, you have to correct it within yourself. You have to make sure you're not doing those same exact things. So appreciation goes a long way. And I always say appreciation breeds production. When people see that their efforts are appreciated, they want to do more. They want to be more consistent. That's how you build great relationships, and that's how you sustain a great relationship. So if anyone's watching this who's already in one, I feel the need to say this, check yourself. Are you showing your partner appreciation for the things they do? When's the last time you said thank you? When's the last time you said, man, I really appreciate all that you do for me? When's the last time you did something randomly special for them to show them how much you care, love, and appreciate them? Check yourself and make the necessary adjustments so you can have more success in your love life. Now we are at number 6, and it is you need to be confident and be yourself. All right? So let's start with confidence. A lack of self-esteem. Though I don't want to go straight to saying having a lack of self-esteem causes people to not take you seriously, so to speak, but it does in the sense that when you lack confidence and self-esteem, you're more likely to end up dealing with people who are just going to use you. You're more likely to end up with individuals who are looking to just make it all about them, all right, rather than about you. And you're less likely to do the other things on this list that would cause you to be taken seriously, like setting your standards, like being more open and transparent, addressing issues, things of this nature. You know what I'm saying? Just allowing yourself to show up in a way that is really present and pours a positive energy into the situation. Because if you are lacking self-esteem and you don't love yourself, then chances are it's due to deeper other unresolved issues. So now, it's rare for someone to only lack self-esteem. There's other things they struggle with typically. And so now these other things will start to sabotage your chances of success or the chances of you being taken seriously in the dating process. So you want to make sure you address that and you become a more confident person, and that you love yourself. Because when you don't love yourself, it is easier to fall for someone who doesn't truly love you. And it is easier to accept unacceptable behavior. But when you do love yourself, you eliminate that. Or at the very least, you severely lessen the chances of that. But also, it's about being yourself. Because how many times have you dated someone and you feel like they're trying so hard? And that can be unattractive. Or they're not being genuine and being themselves. And again, that can not only just be unattractive, it causes you to not really take them serious, all right? So you gotta make sure you know who you are and show up as that person. And have the confidence that if they don't like the real you, then to hell with them. I'm sorry, I had to say it. F them, all right? Let them go. They are not for you. And trying to make it work with someone who's not for you is pointless. The goal is not to get them or that person. The goal is to receive the person who truly connects with you, the real you. That's where you'll find real peace and happiness and harmony and fulfillment and all these wonderful things. So be yourself. Know who you are. Figure that out. And then show up as yourself. And when you do and you exude that confidence, you will be taken much more seriously in dating. And now, last but not least, the seventh secret to being taken seriously in dating is to never be afraid to lose them. All right. So I got a quote that says, never be afraid to lose them more than you're afraid to lose yourself. A lot of times, and this is one time I have to say, this happens a lot with men, a lot more than maybe women realize. But again, it happens both ways. Where the desire to have this person is so strong, we can argue that it's infatuation. Maybe it's love mixed with obsession, infatuation, or other issues. But whatever the case is, you try so hard that you end up sacrificing who you are. You end up sacrificing your standards. You end up not being yourself. You end up trying to accommodate them and ignoring the fact that they don't do the same for you. You pouring so hard and so much into them, but what the hell they're doing for you? And so essentially, you lose yourself trying to keep them. And unfortunately, a lot of people, they may stay with you because they're in a very beneficial position of just taking from you, but are they really taking you serious? And taking you serious in the sense that they're doing their part? No. People have to understand that, let me put it like this. I always say, the minute someone thinks that you're never gonna let them go no matter what they do, the relationship is done. All right? We have to understand, and they have to understand, that there are consequences in a relationship. You know, I always say love is conditional, relationships are not. If you are unable to do what is necessary, you will be let go of. And when people understand that as long as they're doing their part and making an effort, granted, we have our moments, we may have a struggle period, but we just don't blatantly, constantly, consistently neglect, consistently not do our part and think that should be okay and acceptable. If they see that they can get away with that, what is the incentive to be better? What is the incentive to correct the issue? There is none. So they have to understand that, yes, if you're not going to show up the way that you need to in this relationship, you can and will be released. And there's nothing wrong with that. And when someone knows there are consequences for their actions, they take things more seriously. Can you imagine if you worked at a job that no matter how many times you came late, no matter how many mistakes you made, no matter how many times you were blatantly horrible at your job, they never would fire you? You would never take that job serious. It would be a joke to you, a joke that you would take full advantage of. A lot of people would. Maybe not everybody. Some of y'all may have a strong moral compass or whatever you want to call it, but a lot of people, even good people, will get caught up in just taking advantage. And so it's important. Everything in life has consequence. You don't pay your mortgage, you lose your house. You don't do right by your job, you will lose your job. You know, there's tons of other examples. Hell, even in spirituality, if we don't embrace certain principles and rules, we don't make it to the other side. We don't make it to heaven. There are consequences. So don't think there cannot be consequences or should not be consequences in a relationship. And once that's established and they understand that you are not afraid to be by yourself, you're not afraid to let them go, you're not afraid to walk away, you will gain a higher level of respect and you will be taken much more seriously. Hey, thank you for watching this video. Be sure to check this one out right here, and I'll see you there. Dating is an art, and some of y'all don't know how the hell to paint. So listen, I had to say it. But just work with me here. Don't leave the video. Don't get upset, because I'm here.